Welcome back to the Spiritual Business Blueprint. I'm Tracy Ann Rose, and today's episode is titled How to Plan Your Next Quarter Using Astrology and Tarot. Hi, I'm Tracy Ann Rose, and I help spiritual high-achieving women of color break through income ceilings by tapping into their intuition without burning down their business. Today, we're talking about how to understand divine timing and to utilize it not only in your personal life, but also in your business to bring more abundance in. Be sure to stay tuned until the end because I'll be sharing a way to connect with me one-on-one and get your customized abundance manifestation map. So first, we are going to introduce our lovely guest, Aly Joy Johnson. Aly.
Hi, everybody.
I'm gonna read your introduction.
Love
Aly
it.
Joy Johnson is an intuitive artist, reflector, and energy reader. With career exploration in photography for the last decade, she has found she is the happiest when showing people their truest selves through trust, light, and ritual. When we allow ourselves to be witnessed, we unlock our truest gifts and purpose. Nothing brings her more joy than creating containers for this beautiful collaboration to take place. Her personal interests lie in the houses of tarot reading, human design, dream work, intuitive dance, color and energy, and relational expansion. Aly, we're so happy to have you today.
Thank you for having me. I'm elated to be here.
So, for those who don't know, Aly is one of my besties. We met in a container focused on fashion. As you can clearly tell, Aly is like too cool for school. And we just really got into talking about dreams, talking about astrology, talking about, we had so many parallels in our lives. So really just connecting on that.
Yeah.
And our friendship has just grown over the years. And we got to see different iterations of ourselves. And I'm just so excited for the world to get to see this iteration of Aly.
Thank you. I mean, I think one thing that I have to say is like, one of the things I cherish the most about our friendship is like, I really covet the way that you were able to see me. And I also think that that's been so expansive in our capacity to grow as friends. And I think it's very rare. And as far as like the divine feminine energy goes, it's like really essential to like living your biggest, best life is having people you can really lean into for that. And there's like a lot of trust. So it makes me, I just feel so spoiled.
I know. I want to cry. But before we do that.
Yes. Tears later. Tarot now.
So guys, we're going to get into how to plan. Like a lot of people have a lot of mysticism around divine timing. They don't know what it looks like. They're wondering if it almost applies to them when they hear about a big transit. This is really going to be guided around both your personal life and bringing in abundance. For those looking, Aly is going to be kind enough to pull some cards for us. I will be diving in on the energetic front, and we're just going to be hashing out the next lunations that will be coming up in 2026. And if you want those dates handy for yourself, you want to pull out your planner if you're a planner like me. April 17th, we have a new moon in Aries. May 1st, we have a full moon in Scorpio. May 16th, new moon in Taurus. May 31st, a full moon in Sagittarius. June 14th, we have a new moon in Gemini. June 29th, we have a full moon in Capricorn. And for July 14th, we have a new moon in Cancer. So, Aly, when you think about or you feel into the energy of this upcoming new moon in Aries, what comes up for you?
You know, one thing that's been fascinating is like I have moved more and more into in my own life. You know, one thing I've found so much comfort in is like the moon is a place where I continue to find resonance, like always. And you know, as a reflector, there's different theories around like you waiting in circulation with that and letting things come to completion. But what I've noticed the most profoundly lately is like really listening to the tone of each moon as it comes through each month, not necessarily about the duration of like that 28-day cycle, which can get us a little in our head sometimes where we're like, I
Yeah.
can't do this yet. I can't do that. Like it hasn't been enough time. And, you know, you can always bend time. Like time can work on your behalf and it should work on your behalf. Like we have a lot of it in this life. And the only way we feel like we run out is if we're not tending to it and being attentive to it, you know?
Hmm.
So,
And it's
uh,
also like triggers a scarcity mindset in that regard, like
yeah,
feeling restricted
never
rather than
enough.
supported by your strategy.
1,000%. So for me, the biggest theme that's been coming through with Aries, and Aries is not a super familiar energy for me. There's a little bit of contention sometimes, you know, around things that are like opposite of, I have a lot of earth in my chart, I have water in my chart.
Hmm.
I love those placements. Those placements feel so good to me. The biggest thing that's been showing itself to me around this Aries new moon is about using our shadow
Mm,
and like being intentional, being purposeful in that allowing us to have shelter and allowing us to have a safe place. And, you know, shadow work is like a very nuanced thing. It's a very common thing that we talk about in terms of self work. But I'm just loving this new evolution for myself where I'm like, I'm not afraid of my shadow. Like, my shadow can be shelter for me, it can be a safe place where I'm able to go inward. So that's initially like what's coming up.
yeah, and I want to say also for those of you who haven't maybe explored shadow work, I think there's a like you said, like almost like a negative connotation to the shadow,
Yeah,
but it's truly just a part of us. Like it's you cannot have light without shadow and
thousand
vice
percent.
versa, right? So it's like
Yeah.
you have to accept and this is something that we talk about personally all the time of
Yeah.
like harnessing that power.
Hmm.
Like the I am of Aries
Yeah.
is about asserting yourself and even the parts that you might be a little bit ashamed of or a little bit
Yeah.
embarrassed about because they're not, they don't represent your highest self. It's like, welcome to the club. We're all humans.
Yeah. Well,
How can we use it to benefit the collective? And that's like a lot of, I feel like channeling your anger in a productive way. You were going to say something, Allie. Go ahead.
no, I'm in total agreement because we often move in these constructs that like, you know, we attach to subconsciously and that's fine. Like
Hmm.
we're humans, like we're spiritual bringing beings having a human experience. There's a lot of nuance in that. What I'm learning right now is that there is no human experience without shadow, right? And we can
Yes.
either make it a me versus my shadow, or we can
Right.
let that, like some of the illustrations that have been showing themselves to me recently is like, your shadow is the closest thing to you always. It's an extension of you, like
Mm.
literally, physically in the world. You know, you go outside and
Yeah.
your shadow moves in correlation to how you move in the light. And it's not your enemy. It needs softness probably more than any part of yourself. And if you
Yes,
find that
truly.
there's resistance there, then so interesting, this card keeps coming up. If you find that there's resistance there, then that's probably something that you can just like peacefully sit with initially. It's like, so it's yeah, it's I'm even curious, like what is the Aries full moon gonna show me? Because I'm usually deeply awakened by whatever energy comes
Hmm.
through. And oftentimes I'm like, oh. You know, like I don't have everything figured out. I don't anticipate exactly what evolution I'm going to go through. So I'm as equally surprised as all of you when I discover new things in this energy.
Yeah, and just to like clarify for anyone, she meant new moon.
Oh,
April
yes.
17th is the
Sorry.
new moon.
New loop.
But yeah, we already said that earlier. But just in case,
Yeah.
just to catch it for them if
Yes.
they're have Virgo placements like we do,
Yeah.
to keep an
That's
eye.
next
Uh,
week. Is that right? Next Friday?
Next, it's we're recording this April 10th. It will be this new moon will be April 17th, and yeah, it's a Friday, so it's a week from now. So that's exciting.
Mm.
The energy that I'm also getting here is a lot of advocacy. So
Mhm.
where are you not advocating for yourself? That's going to become very apparent in the new moon, April 17th in Aries. It'll show you which parts of yourself that you are sidelining in order for acceptance and what you feel like that is filling for you, what kind of gap internally. You mentioned a card popping out, Allie. I'm so
Mm.
curious. What card
Yes.
was it?
So I'm using this beautiful, beautiful deck, the Fountain Tarot. It's my favorite. It's just beautifully illustrated and it has like a fluidity to it. So the card that came out, actually, I'll show you upright, is the Emperor card. Obviously, a lot of
Okay.
fiery vibes there, but it came forth
Hmm.
inverted, which I find is interesting. And this is probably the fourth reading I've done in the last week where the card has come out with this presentation. So I've been doing individual readings where the Emperor is coming out inverted, which I find really curious.
Oh, wow. So it was the emperor exactly. That's because isn't the emperor, I feel like it's ruled by Aries. Is that correct?
I'm not so familiar with like the individual card signs, but I do know that
That's
that
cool.
it has a fire ruler. Yeah, and it's obviously, like a big reflection of like masculine versus feminine, right? Um,
Yes.
yeah. So I just think it's curious that I've been pulling it for people's individual readings lately. So it fell out. And then
That's fascinating.
the other card that as I was shuffling, I was like, okay, what about the Aries new moon for the individual? So the other card that came forth was the Ace of Cups.
Ooh. And tell us a little bit more about the Ace of Cups for those who are not familiar with the tarot.
So the tarot represents different resources, how I like to put it. There's obviously like
Yeah.
there's air energy, fire energy, earth energy, water energy. The cups are all about emotions. Cups are water centric, in terms of like the way that they move through a reading. Um, aces are all about, in my experience, aces are all about moments of opportunity. So
Okay.
awareness in like an initiation of something. An ace is like a short span of time in which something can come into fruition, right? Um,
Interesting.
hmm so for me, I think what I'm fascinated by is like some cards are more action oriented, right? Like a swords card or a war
Yeah.
card. This is a card to me about emotional presence.
Mm. Right. So this is kind of like the storyline is all coming together. So the more that we are cognizant of what we are feeling, what we're experiencing, what we're kind of excluding from our experience, that is going to give us the power to move forward during this lunation.
Yeah. And I do think it's interesting the juxtaposition of these two energies, right? Is like the emperor is all about structure and control. So what one thing that Aries
Hmm.
is good at is Aries is good as at like taking charge and like going after what they want, right? But then there's an emotional depth that comes with that. So when we're making decisions on our own behalf, we have to like go after things. We also have to make sure that we're ready to receive those things. And that's like an emotional consciousness.
Facts.
That's not just a capability consciousness.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. You have to know what your capacity is.
Mm-hmm. Yes, definitely.
I feel that. Okay. So do you feel complete in that
Yeah,
reading?
I do. Yeah. I think, in a
Okay.
reading like this, we're covering a lot of territory. So if
Yes.
anybody's like, there's always a question of like, what does that mean for me? This Emperor card has been, um, in the explanation, one of the things that it mentions in the reversal of the card is like misuse of power, ineffectiveness, a
Ooh.
fragmented view, the small self egotism. So that's why I think an emotional card is necessary because there's also some Piscean energy moving, right? Like from a planetary level right now. And it's just a reminder that
Yes.
taking action can feel really good as long as it's in support of our emotional depth. And when things lack, like when we
Mm,
lack the emotional depth we need, sometimes taking action just like makes things more messy, in my
it
opinion.
does. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I
yeah,
agree. No,
I-
intentionality is key.
yeah, definitely. We love and I'm obsessed with intentionality.
It's my favorite. It's
Mhm.
my favorite. You don't have to keep doing stuff. You just have to listen and notice what your intuition is telling you is the next right step, no matter
Yeah,
how small. And
yeah.
when we trust that, it's always exponential, the results.
Agreed. And what I would offer with these two cards together, my interpretation is that the Emperor is for the collective. It's like observing what is unfolding. Because I don't think anyone would disagree that right now there's a lot of things being activated, whether it's socially or
Absolutely.
politically or relationally or career wise. So what I would offer with the complementary nature of these two cards is like just witnessing yourself and knowing like, okay, when opportunity to take action arises, is that bringing contention with my own emotions? Is there a specific emotional attachment to the action I'm taking? Or am I being given an opportunity to practice emotional detachment by taking action? And
Mm,
these are important realms
I
to
love
kind of
that.
experiment in because I think emotions are like one of the greatest resources that we have to navigate our purpose and our path.
Yes.
But environmentally, sometimes we can get turned around, right? We can be like, oh, this feels good. This feels like it's in my highest whatever, whatever, because it's bringing in money or it's giving me an opportunity. But you and I both know, like, sometimes the
Yeah.
thing for you is actually hiding in plain sight, which I also think is and, redirect me if need be. As a reflector, sometimes I get on these crazy tangents about all these things that I'm sensing, and sometimes they're more future tense. But what I notice with new moon that always serves me in my highest good is that usually there's an internal work that I'm going through that is like
Mm,
priming me to my optimal actionability when the new moon comes. And that doesn't mean that I can't manifest something on a new moon, but it's just like there's space is your best friend. When you have the ability to take advantage of spaciousness in life, do that. If that's like
yes.
if that's like building your resources, like I'm going to work on my savings or I'm going to connect with people that are helping me collaborate and build something in the future, or maybe that's working on your resources of emotional regulation. Like maybe it's a private thing and you're the only one that knows that.
Yeah. And as you were saying that, I was thinking like Aries season is a great time to meet people. So
Mm,
like where can you allow yourself to introduce yourself? Like I mean Aries, the mantra being I am, like where I am, and introduce yourself to somebody, like put
yeah,
yourself
yes.
out there, allow your little, allow your spark to ignite with the
Yeah.
we're getting really esoteric with like the social. So
Yeah.
like air signs are very social. So when we allow ourselves to be present, especially in a fire season, the air I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. Like, let me just
Say,
backtrack off of that analogy, and we're
no,
gonna move to
I'll
oh,
give
did it make sense to you? Because I was like
No, it does. It does. I literally just said this to you before we started this recording. Is I said it's so cool. I've gotten multiple invitations for events today, to the point where like I love my alone space. I love my home. It's such an
me
epicenter of
too.
how I do the work that I do for myself and how I am able to serve people the best because I'm regulated. So love me some alone time.
Yes.
Notice today how excitable I
Yeah.
was that I got invited to 3 different things, and they each kind of have been, like, unfolding and collapsing, and then literally within 20 minutes, I got invited to another thing, and my heart was like, "I'm supposed to meet people today. That's all I know," you know? And I emotionally am
Yeah.
present for that, and I think maybe that's the message, is, like, notice your
Ooh, yeah.
emotional presence in the midst of action.
Yes, I love that. Okay, let's jump to our full moon in May on May 1st, the first full moon. It's a full moon in Scorpio, which
Yeah.
is Scorpio moons in general, whether or not it's like
Yeah.
a full moon or a new moon, tend to be very emotionally intense. This is because it's designed to help you go down into the depths of your own desires and recognize what you are not fulfilling and how you essentially once again like try to fill that hole with other things, because Scorpio can also have a very addictive quality when we're looking at more of the shadow aspects. Addiction, manipulation,
Intensity.
control is a big thing.
Yeah.
So it's a good time to notice where those themes are coming up in your personal life and in your business and how you are perpetuating them. Because I have a lot of strong feelings about May energetically. Uh,
Mm.
I just feel like May, like what keeps coming up, May don't play. Like, let's not play with May in 2026. Like, get your, we're
Yeah.
about May 1st. We're in Taurus season at that point. So it's very much like be focused on the plan ahead, but make sure it's
Mm.
sustainable. Make sure it
Yeah.
is nourishing to you, not just something that's going to
Mm.
tick off the boxes to get you to your goals, because you're not going to enjoy it if you're burned out by the time you get there, or you're not going to be able to have the capacity to live the dream that you
Mm.
paved the way to build.
Yeah. Ooh, so good. So good. I Another cool tidbit that we can share is that there are 2 full moon iterations in May, which is,
Yeah.
well, in my awareness, not particularly common. Um, and the 2
No.
moons could not be more different, but we love that for us. Uh,
Mhm.
Scorpio is also just such a beautiful energy that I think gets underappreciated because it represents such an intense iteration of deeply tapped in energy. Like I was just telling a friend
Yes.
recently because she was actually trying to navigate some things around 2 relationship opportunities that were coming through. And she's a Virgo and she was attracting a Leo and she was attracting a Scorpio. And I was like, well, babe, you're being
Whoa.
shown that you have this level of magnetism where people who are like they have totally different types of intensity are being drawn to you. And that's a reflection of you. And Scorpio is Scorpio can hold so much for the individual. It's about being okay, like discomfort and discomfort, because the way
That's a
that
good way to put it.
Scorpio, in my reflection or observation, the way that Scorpio lives is unapologetically deeply within their wealth of their channel, which can make them sometimes stubborn and difficult, but there's a lot to be learned there, you know?
Right, and it's like allowing parts of yourself to sort of Scorpio is also the sign of rebirth, death, life, transformation. It's allowing parts of yourself to die.
Or
It is that
yeah,
willingness
yeah.
to say, this is no longer resonant to me. This doesn't feel good to me. This doesn't feel good to me in my business. This is bothering.
Mhm,
Like I feel sick every time I do this, or it's just like
mhm.
recognizing those parts of you that you need to actually release. So it's kind of interesting. We're getting a bit of a storyline here about, okay, like
Yeah,
honor, like recognize where your shadow lives, how it's operating in the world and controlling things, and then how can you release it essentially.
yes. Oh, I love. So, collectively, the card that came forth is the Eight of Cups inverted, another emotion-based card. I feel like this is
Wow.
so scorpionic. Like, when it's right side up, right? It's kind of about endings. It's about knowing that something, kind of like you said, like what has been in support of me and what have I essentially outgrown. And man, I don't know about you, friend, but there are so many times where I'm attached to things that I know I've outgrown. And there's some
Oh
weird,
yeah, it's like always.
yeah, like some weird codependent, cute, like, oh, but I love it. And it's like my friend. And we're so
Yeah.
familiar. Familiarity is
Yes,
such an
familiarity.
emotional crutch sometimes. And I hate to say that. I
It
feel like that's a
is.
little harsh, but I'm not saying go out
It's
and
not. It's not. As a Taurus, it just hits, like it hits me in my rising sign. And so I'm like, ooh, like that's true. I don't like to hear it, but I know it's true, and
ooh,
feel that in my day-to-day life even of just like,
yeah.
trying to sustain relationships that don't feel sustainable or trying to do things that don't make sense for me. And
Mhm.
it's like, hey, this is a call back to yourself of recognizing like, hey, this is just something that you're familiar with. Like you said, like your nervous system
Yeah.
is used to it. That doesn't mean that it's good for you.
Yeah. Well, oh man, yeah, there's a lot of important um layers here because familiarity, honestly, it's like it's so awesome and dumb and silly. I'm like, I get so excited. Like my heart gets so full when we're having conversations like this because the beauty of coming into your own in yourself and understanding your own like energetic landscape of like this is who I am, this is who I
Yeah.
came here to be, these are the way that experiences feel, the textures I'm experiencing in life, right? We're all here to have such vastly different experiences and we get to share collectively and support one another through different iterations of things, right? And we get so in this the way that society works right now, we get so singularly focused and we lose out on so much texture in our experiences that just a little bit of perspective can give us. And what's coming through for me around the Eight of Cups and the Scorpio is like familiarity can sometimes work against us because we think that we tell ourselves that that's our safety. Like, oh, I'm familiar with
Mm,
things, so this is safe for me and this is where my emotions feel the best.
yeah.
But we can always create more safety. And we're always going to fight the unknown because that's just the way human biology works, right? We like a yes or a no. We don't like uncertainty. But Scorpio, going back to the spaciousness, Scorpio, when it's that deep, that's also not always the safest. Sometimes you're way
No.
down there and you're like, is this actually safe? Like, what am I
Or
leaning on?
productive or healthy, yeah.
Yeah. So to me, if we're talking about the collective level, this deck is so beautiful. I think if you're okay with it, just like reading this small iteration, a man
Yeah.
walks away from current reality towards a new dream. So you were saying like what's in support of your business, what's no longer serving your business. The cups of his old way of life have emptied, and though he has acquired relationships, skill, and memory, he must leave them behind. He must leave behind what he knows to create something new. Be confident that nothing of importance has been lost. The path
Mm,
forward may be unclear, but
yeah.
to find the deeper satisfaction, you must be certain of your decision, venturing through the fog of the foreign and the unknown. And in inversion, it's talking about basically like acknowledging when you're stuck or your inability to move on from something because maybe you have cynicism about the future. And
Oh
Scorpios
man, that is a
love
very
to
scorpionic thing.
yes.
They're so when you said it, I was like, 100%. Yup. Yup.
Yep.
They're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, no." Like, "They probably won't go
Yeah.
this way because of this thing and da, da, da," and it's like, Okay, like, it hasn't happened. You don't
Yeah.
know that.
Yes.
You're pulling from the darkest times in your memory, and then you're making that reality, but once again, that's clinging to familiarity. It's clinging on to like,
Yeah.
you a lot of times what I've noticed with Scorpio, they won't state their desires, which Scorpio, they're saying is, "I desire." They won't state their desires because they've already calculated what they could lose. So I think this is really beautiful to hone in on of like, yeah,
Mm,
where are you over calculating? Where are you overthinking? And why don't, this is an opportunity to
mm.
speak your desires instead of putting them on the back burner or hiding them because you think that's going to be more socially acceptable.
Oof. Dude, I'm always like, "Say it again." Say it again. It's yeah, and I I think water is such a good analogy for us to, like, even, like, in business too, right? So
Yes.
oftentimes we forget that when we build, right? When in business, we're building, and that looks like different things to different people in their individual industries. But anytime you're building something, that concept is containment. It's you're trying to create a home for the thing that
Mhm.
you want to foster, which is beautiful, and we love it. But when water comes in, right, like water wants to fill all the nooks and crannies, and it's very different than air energy or earth
Yes.
energy. And my whole
Yes.
thing is like, I find this a lot with myself. When I think of the concept of what I'm building and I feel hesitant to tear something down or to walk away or basically like abandon, right, said thing that I've invested in, and I'm
Mhm.
very attached to my investments. When I think of that, I love the analogy of thinking of water. Like water is never not gonna fill that space. So even the moment that you pull it away,
No.
like even in nature, right? The moment that you pull a rock out of a riverbank, the water moves into that space and it changes the landscape. But
Yes.
is that a negative thing? In nature, it's of highest good. Like the water will not be denied. So yeah, I
No, it
don't know.
won't.
That's
Yeah, you can't control it.
yeah, and I think it cracks me up how often we fight this release, like, "Oh, I gotta let go of this," and girl, I mean, Tracy Ann has helped me through so many things. We have built so many concepts over the last 3.5 years for my business that then seem to just evaporate into the ethers, and that is a huge growth exercise for me. It's been a huge ego release to be like, "This thing does not have to
Yeah.
come into the light in order for me to be in my deepest practice of my craft."
And even yeah, even when I think about it, we were talking about this yesterday, just shooting the shit, and we were talking about, like, just not overcomplicating things, how it can
Mhm.
be so easy, and we wanna make these, like, high level concepts of, like, you're gonna get this, and you're gonna get all this branding, and you're gonna get all this, and it's not necessarily even what people want. People just want you living in your purpose. How can you be
Mm,
okay with that?
yeah.
Instead of overcomplicating to look like your mentor or to
Mhm.
sound like you have it all figured out. Like
Yep.
nobody's got it figured out. If everyone had it figured out, then businesses wouldn't go out of business. Like we would still have Walgreens. No, we do have
Yeah.
Walgreens. No, we don't. No, we
Well
would still have Walgreens if it was right.
yeah,
We
and
have
also, like,
CVS
again,
still. It's
we're
Walgreens that
talking about
went.
the same thing. Yeah, yes, yes, yes. We're talking about the same thing too. It's like we forget that there is already overabundance on this earth. Like human beings, we are
Yes.
constantly have available to us is infinite resource. And
Yes.
we could go on and on about Scorpio wants us to get sucked in, right? But like we could go on and
Mm,
on about all of the like there's grief here too, right? There's grief is a concept of
absolutely.
self-evolution. And like
Yes.
that's a whole nother episode, which I think is so juicy. But yes, I feel complete.
Okay. So we've got a little bit of time. We're gonna dive into the next lunation.
Perfect.
So I think this is gonna be a two-parter, Allie.
For
I'm
sure.
actually gonna do the midtro now because I
Okay.
realized we didn't do it earlier.
Oh yeah.
We've been having so much fun in this conversation. I hope you guys are loving it so far. I loved what you were saying, Allie, about familiarity and letting things go, and how we're talking about simplification. If you guys are looking for a way to simplify your life, please go ahead and check the description below so that you're not overworking yourself in business, burning out, and still opening up to opportunities, abundance, and fulfillment, because you deserve it. Now back to our conversation with Aly Joy Johnson. I love saying your full name. Okay, so
I
the
know.
next lunation we're going to dive into, it's so beautiful. I love that we've got like Tracy Ann Rose, Aly Joy Johnson. We're hitting the syllables
I
out
know,
here.
right? I love a little pre-name alliteration. So fun. So it's fascinating
So
because
May 6th. Oh, go ahead. I was gonna say the
oh,
lunation.
no, no, go ahead, go ahead, go. It's
Oh, what
all
were you
you.
gonna say? Okay. Okay. So May 16th, we have a new moon in Taurus. Woo!
I
I
was
feel
just
like
gonna say we
Taurus,
love a
maybe I'm
Taurus
biased.
queen. We love a Taurus queen.
Why, thank you.
Oh.
I just feel like Taurus is such a nurturing moon. Like,
Mm,
it's such a relaxing moon. I can feel it in my nervous system.
yeah,
I just feel at peace. This is going to be a time to put salve on those wounds that you
yeah,
discovered with the Scorpio full moon,
yeah.
as well as some of the shadow work that you've been doing. This is a great time to integrate,
Mm,
to take a lot of care of your physical body. Recognize how you feel when relating to others. Does it feel nourishing? Does it feel comforting? Does it feel like your values are being amplified, or does it feel like you have to hide from those things? I think this is a good time to recognize that and start cultivating some connections that are truly based in who you are at soul level and what you find beautiful out in the world, not what you think is supposed to be beauty, but truly, like, I think, you know, Aly, I feel like you and I both have like really simple ideas about beauty. Like,
yeah,
like a beautiful sunset can be so nourishing, just to watch a sunset,
yeah.
or just taking a walk outside and noticing the spirit animals. And when I say spirit animals, I mean that you can see an animal and recognize that you're seeing it for a specific reason. It has a spiritual message to give you. Like, by the way, like, as we've been recording this, I've been seeing bees flying. I think they're carpenter bees, so they're probably digging into the house.
Mm,
But there have been
they're
bees flying
munching the
around,
house.
and I'm just, yeah, just eating it up. So I think for me, what I'm getting from that, of course, like, bees are social creatures, but they also
Yeah,
very much have their own vibration, and simply being in their vibration can benefit your health. So how can you look at yourself as a bee, if you will? How can you look at yourself as a beacon of high vibrational frequencies, and who elevates that frequency and who perhaps decreases that frequency?
dude, I love this. This is so cool because the card lately I've been noticing this too. Like the cards kind of like to like keep me out of order and be like, wait, look over here, I'm over here. So while we were
Mm.
talking about Scorpio, the card came out for the Taurus full moon. At first I was like, oh, this is kind of interesting. Like, is this individual? Is this collective? And then as you
Mm.
were just talking about all of this, like noticing the nuance in nature, right? Which is also very Taurian to like be with the earth, right?
Yes.
Then I was like, okay, what's
Yes.
the transitional card? What's the transitional energy from Scorpio intense um to um to this Taurian earth energy, which is also like, I don't know how you feel about this. And I always say this lovingly. I think Taurus is the most like, it's just so deeply earth that it's like they're equal. Like Scorpio and Taurus to me in their individual signs, or sorry,
Yeah.
elements of air and earth have equal magnetism, if that makes sense. Would you agree?
Yeah, there's like, it's feels like Taurus is the ground that we walk upon, basically, and I know that Scorpio is like the
Yeah.
water underneath the earth.
Yes. So fascinating. I was like, okay, well, how do we transition? Because this is a beautiful card that came through for Taurus New Moon. And then we were just talking about the card. So the card that came through was Five of Cups inverted again, right? And the biggest thing,
Oh
this
my
is the
gosh.
upright version. And okay, pouring out, right? And the thing that it's mentioning is befriending grief, which we like barely touched on in Scorpio, right? Full moon.
Mm.
Um, the
Yeah.
relationship to grief. And the one little blurb that I wanted to share is like in reversal, Five of Cups, another emotional card. Um, honestly, I think the next 3 months is like all about emotional expansion, you know, like we
Yeah.
are here to do big work. Our emotion is up leveling. Like we can match that energy, whatever we can build, we can hold in our hearts, in our sacral, in our root, like we can hold it. And that takes practice, right? And so one of the things that I love that's coming out in reversal is it's Five of Cups is new experiences of equilibrium, new partnerships, which we've talked about, hopeful future, and emotional growth. So how do we get from like the deep depths of like, wow, this is hard, I'm letting go of all these things. We give ourselves a hug. We're like, we're amazing, we can do this. And
Mm-hmm.
then we ground. And the card that came through for the new moon in Taurus is the Queen of Coins. She
Oh,
is so
wow.
beautiful. I mean, honestly, to me, we love a queen.
We do. We do love a
We
queen.
also love a queen who is about her business and the money sends her things. You know, it's like abundance chooses
It's
you
so
because
funny because when you were saying Queen of Coins, I was like, "What?" And then I was like, "Oh, Pentacles." So, like, I was like, "Oh, yeah." Like, but it's like
yeah,
you forget. I mean,
pentacles.
at least I do. I forget that Pentacles are, I mean, but you forget like that they're associated with money,
Oh. Yeah, and I also think that's like the
the
best part of
material.
using different decks. Different decks have
Yeah.
different language. I love Pentacles is like honestly one of my favorites. I love that in this deck. I also just like love the illustrative quality of this deck, and I love the range of vibes that it has in the way that it depicts the
Yeah, the
figures.
color theory is interesting.
Really beautiful. And so what's fascinating, the thing that's standing out to me with the Queen of Coins for this Taurus new moon is like trust your own abilities, embrace your unique way of being in this world. It's all about
Nice.
really indulging in the high vibration of your own energy. Like being it's not just being unapologetic, it's like luxuriating in how great it feels to be you.
Mm.
I mean, what more can we want?
I feel like that is a mic drop moment. I feel like we might have to, yeah. I feel like this
Yeah,
is
we
yeah,
might have to leave it on a
100%.
cliffhanger. Yes,
Yeah,
I
so you
agree.
guys, I think we're going to come back to this, like to do these
Mhm.
readings, perhaps. Like we definitely want to do the rest of the quarter.
Yeah.
But let us know in the comments how this is hitting for you, if this is resonating for you, if you know things that are coming up that feel really aligned. Just yeah, comment below. Let us know. We want to hear what's going on in your life. How are these cards showing up for you? This has been so much fun. Aly, thank you for
Oh,
being
I'm
here.
obsessed. Oh, wait. Literally, I
I'm
could do
so
this all
happy.
day with you. I feel so
I could
spoiled.
too.
Thank you for having
I think we've already
No, I'm like,
demonstrated
for
that
the
we could
9 o'clock?
totally
Oh, let's do till
go
2027. Okay,
forever.
let's just
That would be fun. I would be down for that, by the way.
I'm always down.
But if you're still, as a listener, if today's episode resonated with you and you're ready to turn that fear into forward momentum, whether that's in your business, in your personal life, so gain more fulfillment, abundance, and alignment, I want to invite you to check out the description below. I work with people who are ready to take that next step of listening to their intuition and allowing that to influence their personal lives, their business, and their relationships in positive ways. Often, which I love, indirectly. So you do the energy work and then 10K comes in, or you do the energy work and then you get invited to a new event. Aly knows. So if that sounds like you, something that you're interested in manifesting for yourself and understanding what that process is for you as an individual, I invite you to book a customized abundant manifestation map planning session. You can find the link in the description below. Thank you
Love
again, Aly Joy Johnson, for being here.
you for having me. I'm just gonna like literally do
So
nothing with the
fun.
rest of my day except enjoy this energy.
Please do. And
Love.
I'm like, sure, we'll text about this afterwards. But anyway,
I'm
bye,
talk
you
to you. Bye.
guys.